Here it is. Ta-da. Hello and welcome to a new thing. I'm Jenine Lillian. I'm a neurodiversity consultant and educator. I'm also actually autistic and dyslexic and a super nerd. I am here with a very special guest with a bit of an advert for y'all today. First of all, I want to introduce ourselves in a fun way. So, thinking about things that we geek out about. Well, y'all know I already love birds and I love making stuff and fixing stuff, and food prep and washing dishes by hand. So, we've covered those. But I actually really geek out about finding out what people like to read or listen to, and then creating professionally curated lists for them so that they never run out of high quality audiobooks, bookbooks, ebooks, and stuff like music, podcasts, etc. So, yes, I'm a librarian and I can't help myself, but you'll never run out of stuff to read if you are my friend. So, Alex, that goes for you too. So, my guest today is Alex Dirksen, and over to you to introduce yourself, my friend.
Yes, hello, Janine. Thanks so much for having me. Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Dirksen. Today, I'm here representing an organization called IWSCC, which I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about. But to get into myself a little bit, maybe a bit of a classic geeky hobby, but I am actually quite a big fan of Dungeons and Dragons. It's proven to be an excellent hobby as I've grown older and friends get busier. Having an excuse to bring people together and enjoy a little bit of comedy, a little bit of intrigue, a little bit of excitement, and a little bit of collaborative storytelling over a couple hours with friends is a great way to stay social, to engage with a little bit of fantasy, and have a little bit of fun.
That's
That's
awesome.
yeah. I picked it up in the last handful of years. I've been both a player and a dungeon master, sort of running my own stories, which is quite a lot of fun as well. Kind of walking friends through a little adventure. So that's something geeky about me.
Ah, that's amazing. I love that. Okay, I'm so old. How old am I? I'm so old that I played Dungeons and Dragons when I was 9, when it first came out with paper and die and little figurines. Like, yeah, so being able to do stuff on Zoom like this, like webinars, like education and connection, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now you're going to get a bunch of emails to join your D&D.
I hope so.
Good
Maybe,
problem to
yeah.
have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man. Well, as Alex said, Alex works for IWSCC. And the first question people ask me when I say that sentence is, what is that? So, Alex, I'm going to let you explain your acronym and talk a little bit about what you all do over there because you and I get to collaborate, and a lot of people don't know who you are yet. So, let's fix that today.
We do, yeah. I'm really excited to get to tell more folks about what we do. So the IWSCC stands for the Inclusive Workplace and Supply Council of Canada. We're to give it a bit of a tagline, we're Canada's national certifying body for veteran-owned and disabled-owned businesses. At the What we do is we're a supplier diversity organization. We were founded in 2017, so we've been around for 8 years. Quick math. As a supplier diversity organization, the core of what we do is we connect with a particular group of business owners who are underrepresented in the market, who have not necessarily had a fair shot at getting their foot in the door to access Canada's supply chains, to work with corporate Canada, to work with government Canada. And we do our best to be the bridge between those two communities, between not just the businesses, but we also work with large organizations, private corporations, and different levels of government as well to bridge connections, to encourage healthier connections, encourage more inclusion for veterans, more accessible buying processes. And we do our best to support that through a lot of other initiatives like research and like running events, not just to network, but also to share information, to advocate, to build awareness about these two incredibly passionate group of entrepreneurs, the incredibly creative group of entrepreneurs who build quite a lot of businesses based on their lived experience, on what makes them unique, and we think they make great businesses. We know they make great businesses because we get to work with them every day. And that's maybe a quick summary of what we do.
Yeah, I like to think of it as IWSCC has like the veteran-owned businesses and the disabled-owned businesses, and there's some overlap there, of course, but then also this other piece of the corporate suppliers that reach out to you to find out who's a vetted supplier, who's a certified supplier, who's
That's
a
right.
subject matter expert, who can meet this need that we have, because the corporations are also trying to diversify their supply chain. And so it's a great kind of marriage of those. And I also love the fact that I came into IWSCC learning about the education piece that you all offer. And then I was able to offer what I do for my disabled owned business as a webinar, which was fantastic. And people are still watching that. So thank you again. Also for me, having that digital asset available, that was the first time that someone had contracted me to do my thing, but then made it available to the wider public for no cost. And that's just an incredible resource, not just for anyone who's looking for that type of content, but also for me to say, well, here's my proposal and here's my website, but here's an example of my work. And here's what people had to say about it. And that's just a very powerful tool to have, to both get the information out and also to have people understand that I'm, a real person and that I'm actually doing this and that you all, I'm reputable because you're reputable. And so that's just an incredible opportunity.
Definitely,
Yeah.
it's a. I don't want
No,
to
no, no,
interrupt
good.
you. I'll just say quickly, it is a big part of what we do. Is not just to. I can unpack a few things we do there. One, in terms of providing resources, it's a huge part of what we want to do. We're a not-for-profit organization. We are to branch out a little as a supplier diversity council. We work alongside a lot of other peer groups who are older than us and more established, but nonetheless, engage in the same strategy for other underrepresented
Mhm.
groups, besides disabled-owned businesses and veteran-owned businesses, which I will clarify in this conversation as well, is a term that we use at the IWSCC specifically to mean businesses that are majority owned, operated, and controlled by a person with a disability or several persons with disabilities or by veterans. These are businesses that we want to work with and support specifically, not just because we know that they have had limited access to opportunity or limited access to resources to begin with, but also to ideally create like an effective snowball effect. We know that entrepreneurs with disabilities work with and employ other persons with disabilities,
Yes.
make businesses more accessible than, say, someone who is not currently living with a disability. Just thanks to
Mhm.
that lived experience, we want to channel that experience through resources like Janine's incredible webinar, which I recommend everyone check out.
Oh, you're too kind.
Um, a great introduction. And I, even for me, well, I say even for me, we're not experts. We're always learning too. I think it's a bit of a motto here at the IWSCC. But providing great resources for awareness and understanding opportunities,
Yeah.
like discussing neurodiversity in a modern context, this term that so many people are hearing and learning about,
Yeah.
and maybe even learning a lot about themselves as well.
Yeah, thank you for that. And thanks for clarifying too, because I want to make sure, as I don't actually work at the IWSCC, it is important to clarify, what those what it means for in this context to have a disabled owned or a
Yes.
veteran owned business. So thank you for that. This is why I called in the expert. Speaking of disabled owned businesses, which mine is, we have a very important event coming up, and I wanted to give you a chance to talk about what that event is, who can attend, if somebody's on the fence, like, what might be the like, well, you didn't know you're going to get this out of it, because I have my own reasons for attending, and I think, I've seen the video of the previous year. I think it's very inspirational, and I definitely wanted to be a part of it as a participant. So tell us a little bit about Reach.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you join us at the Reach Forum. So Reach, the National Forum for Disabled Entrepreneurship, is an event that IWSCC runs. It's a virtual event. It's free to attend. Anyone is welcome to join. It happens well for our third year now. Uh, we run it during National Accessibility Week, which this year in 2025 is going to run from May 25th to May 31st. So it's the last week of May. A nationwide celebration of persons with disabilities, highlighting achievements and also highlighting barriers and creating a lot of meaningful discussion around what organizations like ours and our peers are doing, what entrepreneurs and persons with disabilities are facing and overcoming. We This is our third year running Reach, and it was started much for the same reason that IWSCC was founded, which was essentially that our founders were entrepreneurs themselves. They were engaging in networking, attending conferences, and learning about this world of supplier diversity. Canada has councils for women-owned businesses, has councils for the 2S LGBTQIA plus community owned businesses, for Indigenous and people of color, but a space didn't exist here in Canada yet for entrepreneurs with disabilities or for veterans, which,
Yeah.
without getting into a whole history lesson, supplier diversity was sort of an idea that came out of our neighbors to the south of the US, which Canada has adopted and kind of built for our own marketplace for the last couple decades. Um, so those organizations did exist in America for disabled owned businesses, for veteran owned businesses. That space didn't exist here. So there were entrepreneurs who were facing difficulty who could have been tapping into this resource.
Yeah.
And that's why the IWSCC was founded, was to provide that space. So in much the same way, 3 years ago, I was working with the IWSCC. I had the pleasure of being part of the
Oh,
first
nice.
Reach Forum. Um, Essentially the same thing happened. We were very excited for National Accessibility Week,
Mm.
to talk about it, to participate, to share resources, share events, spread the news, spread the good word, as it were. And as we looked around for our space for entrepreneurs with disabilities, we found that that space still just didn't really exist.
Yep.
Um, and so we decided we'd make it ourselves.
Nice.
Reach is, I like to say it's a space for not just entrepreneurs with disabilities and disabled owned businesses, as it were, to come out, but also for their allies, for resource providers, for supporters of these businesses, for folks in their communities to come out to share experience, to learn from the experience of great disabled owned businesses like Jenine, who will be joining us at this year's event. Um, and also to talk with resource providers. As the event has grown, we continue to work with other fellow nonprofits, to help guide folks to
Mm.
resources that might be useful to them. IWSCC is part of one community,
Mm.
and we are still, as far as we know, the only space in Canada for disabled owned businesses, or that really focuses on entrepreneurship for persons with disabilities.
Right.
Reach is an extension of that wish to create a space. We know that we can't necessarily be all things to every
Of
disabled
course.
owned business. And so we want to build a network of partners, of fellow advocates and allies and
Yeah.
supporters, who can provide resources as well. Maybe if someone in the audience hears about a resource they didn't know about, or an opportunity that they didn't know that they could access, then I think we've succeeded
Yes.
in what we
Yes.
want Reach to be.
Absolutely. And, as I was mentioning in our sort of quirky intro, I love to connect people with information, especially very high quality and personalized information. And so for me, I'm constantly looking for resources for my own self, for my business, for my circle of care, and then helping these connections take place, whether it's for me or on behalf of someone else. And so I do find that, Alex, that whenever I'm involved in an event through IWSCC or even through the monthly newsletter, that I find something I didn't know about that's going to help someone, maybe me, maybe someone I know, and I share that information out. And to me, that's like sort of the best of the old school type social networking, right? Where it's hey, I
Absolutely,
heard
yeah.
about this
That's
thing
it
and I
makes me
know
very
it's
happy to hear that.
yes, it is relevant to you because we're inundated with so much misinformation,
Mhm.
especially about invisible disabilities like neurodiversity. And so, you know, I'm streaming through, sifting through a lot of this constant stream. And that's part of why I started my business too, so that I could give the like sort of true and correct science facts. And also that lived experience that you mentioned earlier. It's so helpful, but we do get drowned out. And I think even IWSCC as an agency kind of gets drowned out because you're nonprofit and you're not having like huge advertisement or something. And so my experience with IWSCC has just been so nourishing, and connecting with you and having my business grow alongside and being able to report back to you that I've gotten these results largely because of my exposure with IWSCC. And then also there's new stuff coming. I feel like I'm late to the game, but I'm also like right on time. And part of the reason I wanted to highlight Reach was not because, like, I wanted to highlight it before you invited me to be a community speaker, which, by the way, is just so huge. Thank you for that. But also because it is really the only time. And I was watching the video from the last year that I missed. And I was like, gosh, this is just so inspirational and it's so empowering, and it's just knocking down all of these myths and stereotypes and barriers. And I just found it very elevating, which is a feeling I try to
That's great
create.
to hear.
Yeah.
In the end, that's why we came up. Even with the name Reach,
Yep.
was to really communicate that feeling of it. We knew as like a growing organization where we are a nonprofit. We're maybe
Mhm.
not the biggest team, but we have a small but mighty team,
That's
as
right.
it were. We were founded by folks who are extremely passionate
Mhm.
and aren't afraid to break the mold, aren't afraid to learn from the community, or to admit that even as the founders of an organization like that, doesn't mean that we have to be experts on all things. The way that
Yes,
we move forward is together.
that's right.
So that great to hear that last year's Reach Forum
Yeah,
provided a little bit of inspiration for you. I'm sure this year's
absolutely.
forum will do the same for others. I'm very excited to have you come
Thank
and
you.
share your own experience. I wanted to touch
Please.
quickly on something you said earlier, which is that urge to feeling late to the party when it
Mm.
comes to supporting any particular cause. I mean, well, we can really unpack it. Is like in one sense, you've already said it. It's never really too late.
Yeah.
And as I've grown into this space as well, this space of support and into the IWSCC community, something that we talk with organizations all over Canada, some of the largest
Mm.
businesses, corporate buyers, crown corporations, and different levels of government, is that when it comes to say accessibility as
Mm.
maybe a pretty relatable topic, is that uh, doesn't necessarily need to be done perfectly from the get-go. What
Absolutely.
matters is that we start taking those steps.
That's right.
And I think that there can be a lot of pressure in the advocacy space and in the support space to want to do things perfectly. Um,
Yeah,
and
and you can't.
yeah, because we as people are not perfect. And it's our imperfections
Hallelujah.
that make us unique. That yeah, that bring that unique experience that we want to share.
Yep.
It can be very uplifting to just get the chance to admit that even IWSCC is an org that is always trying to try new things,
Yeah.
always trying to try new ideas, and to do that like alongside our community, to be learning from the community. Um, so I think it's something that keeps us on the right track.
Thank you.
Um,
Yeah, I
we
think so too.
uh, we continue to grow. This past year has been, one of our biggest years so far. We continue to hear from more organizations over the days, weeks, and months.
Yep.
Maybe a quick little
Yes.
plug. If someone listening to this wants to learn more about the to reach out if you're a support worker, work for an organization that supports persons with disabilities or entrepreneurs. You can always reach out to us. Find us at www.iwscc.ca. You can reach straight out to us by email at info@iwscc.ca. We're always happy to connect and to learn more about who we can partner with, who we can support,
Yay.
whether
And I
you're a
will put
business
this in.
owner.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Well, whether you're a business owner
Yes.
or just someone who wants to learn more about what we do, we're
Thank
always
you.
happy to connect.
Yay, thank you so much. And I can tell you as a person encountering this sort of ecosystem, that was very much my experience. That it's I think Alex really means it, and I will put the website and the email address in the session notes on this episode. If you're watching this and you're wondering if you should attend the Reach conference in a few weeks on May 28th, you can actually check out the previous year that I mentioned earlier, and it is very inspirational. And also this year, there's going to be community speaker and no, keynote speaker and two community speakers, of which I am one. So I think I said that right. We're
Yes,
not
yeah,
human, or
yeah.
we're not superhuman, and I told Alex recently, I'm so thankful for that because it does take the pressure off. The other thing that's really, really hard to remember as an entrepreneur, especially as an entrepreneur with an invisible disability, is that perfect is absolutely the enemy of the done. So it's better to just get it done, do your best, make your best effort, do the deliverable, get the thing sent, get it off your to-do list, and then restore, tackle the next thing. And as a person who's now 52 and didn't know that I was autistic and dyslexic the whole of my life until I was 51, I really do feel like I'm right on time. And I'm very thankful to live in this era and this place and to be doing this work. So, like Alex says, if you have questions or you want to reach out, we really do mean it, and I'll put the information in there. And if you have somebody who's wondering about this stuff, please don't hesitate to poke around on either or both of our websites. There's lots of free resources and just amazing stories out there. So you can follow Alex and IWSCC on their socials and get their monthly newsletters, which I mentioned earlier are chock full of really great information, not just from their own ecosystem, but from all of their collaborative partners. And you can connect with me in a number of ways that are not on social media. But I just want to thank you so much, Alex, for all the work that you and your team are doing behind the scenes on the daily basis, but also for the Reach Forum that's coming up in just 2 weeks. And I hope that folks who see this after the fact will go back and watch the video. And if you're able to attend, go ahead and join us. So thank you so much, Alex. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, but don't go away and have a
Thanks
wonderful
very much
day.
for having me.
Of course.